I went to a PTSD meeting. They tried to give me some drugs to help me, but I wouldn't take them because they're just going to make me a vegetable or whatever, you know. But I went to a follow-up meeting, and I saw guys that came in. They looked like they just drug out of bed. They had hairs in a mess, and they're asking questions. Why would God allow me to kill women and children? You know, that's what they were going through. What really bothered me was, you know, I have PTSD. If a chopper comes overhead, it just takes you there. When the national anthem plays at any I can show you the video, at any high school function, or I mean anything, it just, when I'm saluting the flag, I'm running these reels of the guys that I knew there. The guy that got killed, this guy that got killed, you know, and my name is Raul Maldonado. I fought in the Vietnam War. Me and my brother dropped out of high school to go join the Army because they needed us. That's what the word that, you know, was that we went with. We just felt the need that, yeah, there was a war going on and they needed us, and we went and volunteered together. And I was a senior, he was a junior at Del Campo High School, and we went and joined. And we both signed up for jump school, thinking we'd end up being together, you know. But in basic training for a month or 2 or 3, we had hardly any contact with home or certain foods or anything like that, treats. As a soldier, I got there paratrooper, but we didn't really jump out of planes, but we jumped out of Huey helicopters a lot, taking us from area to area. Infantry, and then when I got there, they asked if I wanted to carry the radio, which, oh sure, I'll do it, you know, it's a job. But I didn't know that it was one of the ones that they try to gun first, you know, that you try to put out the radio or whatever. But I became a RTO, radio telephone operator. It's kind of a funny story, but the day before I was wounded, one of the members of our squad was killed in a booby trap. There was an explosion, and we had been out in the jungle, going from point to point, just pretty much reporting back any action, any activity in the area. And so we had come to the base of this mountain, and we were going to rest. There was supposed to be a creek nearby. We were going to try to fill our canteens, get some water to continue. And we were so happy to finally just get to sit down and rest. And they sent out a squad of 5 kids out to go look for the creek, because the captain had a map and he knew where the creek was, and they went looking for it, and we were just resting, sitting back, maybe reading a letter from home or something, and all of a sudden there's this gunfire, just a rapid fire gun, and everybody straightens up. The captain comes over and points at me, because I still have my backpack on, and I carried the radio for our squad. He pointed at us and said, "You guys get out there and find out what's going on." And as we're going out there, I'm getting the information on the radio and find out that they had shot up a snake. And then we're walking back, and we're going a different trail, and we see them, the first squad that had gone out, and I look over at them as we're going into this shrubbery, this line of bushes on a trail, which we shouldn't have probably been on a trail, but I looked over at the guy and I kind of gave him a dirty look, like, you know, we shouldn't be out here or whatever. And as soon as I turned back, there was an explosion to my right, and it knocked me down, knocked my squad leader down, and that's how I was wounded. I have, you know, shrapnel in here still from the hand grenade. It was a couple of hand grenades to the side of a trail with a fishing line that when you walked across it, it pulled the pins out of the grenade, and the point man set it off, and then we're a few steps behind, and then we get blown up. And so I remember yelling back to the other guys, to stay away. There might be more, but they kept coming. The medic came up and started patching us up. I remember he took this little tube about like that with a needle about like that, and shoved it in my arm. Morphine, I think it was, and I couldn't feel anything. I sat there and took my water that I had just filled my canteen, and I had a package of Bugs Bunny pre-sweetened Kool-Aid and poured it into my canteen and drank it down. Waited for the chopper to pick us up. After I was injured, the chopper came out, picked us up, flew us back to the field hospital, and I don't remember much after that, other than being in the hospital, maybe because of, I don't know, the medications or whatever. But the one thing I remember is being loaded. Being loaded into a plane that was, all I visualize is white inside that plane, because it was everybody in bandages, their arms or legs up in the air with IVs, and just the whole plane was wounded. And we flew to Japan, a hospital in Japan. I don't remember the name even. And this is very, very emotional to me, because when we were driving from that airport in Japan to the hospital, colors started to come up, because you're in the jungle and everything is olive drab, green, brown jungle, and we're in the bus driving down this road, and there are some little Japanese kids playing baseball, and their colors, their uniforms were red, white, and blue, and I just started crying in the bus, because it's like the first sight of a color that you saw, and that's why for me, every time I hear the national anthem, it just takes me to the guys that I knew that were killed over there. I carry this magnet around to show that there's still a piece of that hand grenade in there. They took the other pieces out of here, and I had a large chunk in here too that fractured that bone. Better than dying. I mean, it's just a whole. It just gives you an appreciation of life even more, and the little things that people probably wouldn't even think of. I found an egg once in a little village. We were burning the hutches, and some of the guys were, killing the animals, and there's some wild chickens running around. I found an egg in a bush, and I took it and I put it in a sock and put it in my ammo pouch, and I carried it for that day and that night. And the next morning I cooked it, and I had a real egg, which you could go to your refrigerator probably now, you'd just take it for granted, but we didn't have eggs. We didn't, we had sea rations, and that was something, just the little things. And then throughout life, that's my life, to appreciate everything. I appreciate just being alive. Everything else is just added to it, Yeah. I don't think that young, uneducated kids should go to war. I think there should be a higher age limit, and I think more educated minds, where some of the kids there were just kids. They thought they were sitting there playing John Wayne movies. They would run around with their rifles and pose with them, and this one kid thought he was such a bad guy with his ammo bandoliers and his rifle and his knife. And as soon as one of our guys was killed in front of him, and the sergeant was telling him to pick him up, you know, we're going to carry him down the hill, he said, man, I ain't carrying no dead guy, to one of our own kids that had just died, you know, and because they didn't know of death or the outcome of it. And I think they should be more experienced in what's really going on. I think that was the big thing that the kids yeah, I don't want to get into too many gross things, but the things that they saw that they shouldn't have seen at that age, you know, at that, you know.